You ever realize your brain isn't built to make you great? It's built to make you comfortable. Every craving, every hit of dopamine exists to keep you safe, not strong. That's why you get a dopamine hit from checking your phone, but none from checking your life. You think you're fighting laziness, but really you're fighting evolution. Millions of years of wiring whispering, stay small. That's why discipline feels like pain. Consistency feels like war, because your brain treats change like danger. But evolution was never gentle. Every stronger version of you had to kill the one before it. Sung Jinwoo wasn't born powerful. He was programmed to survive until the dungeon forced him to erase the old code. That's real transformation. Not motivation, not mindset, reprogramming. So if you want to rise, don't seek comfort. Stage a cognitive rebellion, a death of the default self. To become powerful, you have to do what Sung Jinwoo did. Kill the boy and let the man be born. Because the boy's brain was built for safety, but the man's brain was built for domination. Most people never escape their dungeon because they don't believe they're trapped. You wake up, scroll, work, sleep, repeat. Congratulations, you've unlocked a secret ending called Tuesday. Call it routine, but it's really a loop that rewards survival over success. Your brain loves autopilot. It saves energy and hides the cage. Neuroscience calls it the basal ganglia loop, the part that automates habits. It doesn't care if they make you miserable. It only cares that they repeat. In solo leveling, Jinwoo walks into the double dungeon. Everyone senses danger, but he says, it's fine, we've done this before. Predictability feels safer than awareness. That's the dungeon. Comfort disguised as control. How many people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, because at least they know how it works? Your brain will always choose familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. When Jinwoo finally realizes he's trapped, it's already too late. The statue moves, the walls bleed light. Denial feels safe until it kills you. You can't leave the dungeon until you admit you're in one. So, start small. Change one variable. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Turn off notifications. Every disruption weakens the loop. Awareness is the first rebellion. You've been told to be kind to yourself, but what if that's why you're still weak? Every time you feel tired, the world says, rest, you've done enough. You've done enough? Bro, you answered 2 emails and thought about working out. We live in an age where comfort is disguised as healing. You say you're resting, but most rest is retreat. Behavioral psychology calls it self-consistency bias. Your brain would rather protect the identity it already knows than risk becoming something new. If you think you're fragile, it'll prove you right. In solo leveling, Jinwoo's on the floor, bleeding out. He thought being the weakest made him safe until that identity almost killed him. The altar wasn't mercy. It was an invitation. You felt that, haven't you? That comfort in not trying. Because potential feels safer as a maybe. Weakness survives because you keep feeding it self-pity. You call it self-love, but it's protection. The real kindness, demanding more from yourself because you can. That's what Jinwoo did. He didn't beg for grace. He begged for growth. And the system answered, prove it. Next time you say, I deserve a break, ask yourself, from what? Effort or avoidance? If you're resting to recover, that's strength. If you're resting to escape, that's regression. Growth begins when you stop protecting the version of yourself that would rather be comfortable than capable. Every time you feel pain, your brain is trying to evolve. You say you want to grow, but the moment it hurts, you run. You call it burnout when half the time it's breakthrough. But sure, go ahead. Maybe another motivational podcast will fix what a decade of procrastination couldn't. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, the process where your brain rewires itself under stress. Every rep, every failure, every late night, it's adaptation in motion. Comfort kills that process. Stability isn't strength. It's stagnation wearing a nice outfit. Jinwoo learns this mid-battle. Every swing, every drop of blood, XP gained. Pain wasn't punishment. It was promotion. You've seen it too. Someone breaks down, loses everything, and comes back unrecognizable. That's pain rewiring the mind. You can't build resilience in theory. You have to bleed for it. Stop running from pain. Let it shape you. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your sculptor. The pain you avoid today becomes the weakness that haunts you tomorrow. Discipline isn't punishment. It's programming. Everyone wants change until they see how boring it actually is. Because apparently, if it doesn't come with fireworks and lo-fi music, it's not growth. Real growth isn't cinematic. It's repetitive, quiet, dull. You wake up early, eat the same meal, do the same thing again, and your brain screams, "This can't be progress." That's dopamine withdrawal talking. You've been trained to crave novelty, not mastery. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman calls it dopamine recalibration. Your system isn't broken. It's flooded. Every quick pleasure, scrolling, sugar, validation, teaches your brain that effort isn't worth the wait. Discipline resets that system. You don't find motivation, you manufacture it. Every small win, every checklist tick, every rep, every line written tells your brain, we're doing it. That's how you build momentum, loop by loop. Jinwoo didn't level up through luck. He grinded. No glory, no soundtrack, just daily quests and quiet repetition. That's where transformation begins. In boredom, in consistency. The system wasn't magic. It was accountability. Every time you do what you said you'd do, especially when you don't feel like it, you rebuild credibility with yourself. That's how discipline becomes identity. Start with one habit. Reward the behavior, not the result. You're not chasing dopamine, you're retraining it. Mastery doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the same thing better until quitting stops feeling like an option. The strongest people you know aren't fearless. They've just learned how to move while they're terrified. You keep waiting to feel ready, but readiness? It's a myth. Your brain doesn't evolve through confidence. It evolves through confrontation. Every hesitation you feel is ancient code. Your amygdala flashing red before you've even begun. That's not weakness. That's survival instinct misfiring. Which is why public speaking feels like fighting a dragon. Except the dragon's just your uncle asking what you do for work. Your brain can't tell the difference between danger and discomfort. So it freezes, even when nothing's chasing you. Psychologists call it amygdala hijacking. When fear spikes, logic shuts down. It's why people self-sabotage right before breakthroughs. The fix is exposure, small, repeated acts of courage that teach your brain, I survived this, I can handle more. In solo leveling, Jinwoo faces his greatest test. He's outmatched, exhausted, afraid, but he doesn't run. That stillness, that's not bravery, that's exposure therapy in motion. Fear burned through him. And when it didn't kill him, his brain recalibrated. He wasn't fearless. He was free. You felt it too, before the text, before the risk, before the truth you were scared to speak. Fear never leaves. It waits for you to prove it wrong. Fear isn't your enemy. It's initiation. Each time you face it, the prefrontal cortex wakes up again. Logic returns. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's fluency in it. Expose yourself to fear in microdoses. Say the hard thing. Take the risk. Do what your mind resists most. Don't wait to feel brave. Train your brain to act anyway. Because courage isn't emotion. It's muscle memory. Real power doesn't come from becoming someone new. It comes from shedding what kept you small. You've spent your life trying to find yourself. Newsflash, you're not lost. You just keep looking in the fridge. The self you seek isn't missing, it's buried. Transformation isn't addition, it's subtraction. You evolve by removing what no longer fits. Psychologists call it identity reconstruction. Dr. Kelly McGonigal's research shows that real change comes from identity shift, not willpower. When you say, I am disciplined, your brain adapts. That's what Jinwoo did. He stopped answering to weak. When he awakened as the Shadow Monarch, there was no speech, no roar, just control. The story was never about monsters. It was about mastering himself. You felt that too. That quiet click after months of work when you no longer need validation, you just know. That's identity rewiring. That's leveling up in real life. At some point, you stop chasing your best self and realize you already are. You've just been too distracted to meet him. The strongest version of you isn't waiting in the future. He's locked behind the fears you avoid. Face them, and confidence stops being effort. It becomes instinct. Stop chasing new habits like patches on a broken system. Ask instead, who do I need to stop being? Delete the old code, the excuses, the delays, the doubt. Every action from your new identity reinforces it. Your brain rewires. Your choices sync. That's how the boy dies and the monarch is born. The weaker version of you, the one that waits, scrolls, hesitates, he's not your protector. He's your prison guard. He keeps you safe, predictable, but safety is just another word for stagnation. And stagnation, it's a slow kind of death. You've spent years trying to improve him, the procrastinator, the overthinker, the tired one. But some versions of you can't be fixed. They can only be buried. Neuroscience says your brain changes when your behavior does. The moment you act differently, you physically become someone else. Every new decision sends a message. The old me doesn't live here anymore. When Jinwoo stepped out of that dungeon, he wasn't the same man. He was proof that death and rebirth can share a single body. That's what this whole story's been about. Not strength, not success, reconstruction. The dungeon wasn't punishment, it was a mirror. Everything you've killed inside it was never meant to survive the next version of you. Kill the boy and let the man be born. Because every evolution requires a death first. That's how you level up.